We just spent 7 days eating, seeing, and exploring Kuala Lumpur, as well as countless hours researching the trip. We're now providing you with everything we learned, including how long should you stay? Can you pay with credit cards? Do people speak English? Is there tipping? How to get from the airport to
down.
Can you drink the water? Do you need a visa? And so much more. I'm not saying we know the city better than the locals. We just know more than most tourists. Probably. This is the Kuala Lumpur City Guide. Cue the music. Let's dive into the essential things you'll want to know before visiting. First off, if you see or hear the letters KL, it means Kuala Lumpur. Locals and eventually us started to use it when referencing the city. Malaysia's currency uses the ringgit. Now say it with me, ring, ring.
Oops.
Moving on to visas. If you have a passport from basically anywhere in Europe, North or South America, you don't need a visa and you can stay up to 90 days at a time. Cash or credit card. Compared to other Southeast Asian countries, I'm looking at you, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. You can get by with using a credit card most of the time unless you're visiting a food market or taking the public transportation. The power outlet used in Malaysia is a Type G power socket. Can you drink the water? This seems to be a touchy subject depending on who you're talking to, but we felt comfortable drinking tap water from the hotels we were staying at and didn't have any issues. Can you drink alcohol on the streets? Can drink alcohol on the street since there's no law against it, but you may get some looks from people. Malaysia is predominantly a Muslim country, and because of this, alcohol is not consumed by the majority of the population. Alcohol is also heavily taxed, so you'll pay more compared to other Asian countries. How about the prices, you ask? This city is huge and it has a variety of different price points to meet your needs. It's more expensive than other Asian countries, but it's fairly inexpensive compared to Western city prices.
Tipping!
In Malaysia, tipping is not a common practice, but you'll find in some restaurants, a service charge is already included in your bill. How long should you stay? You could probably hit the major tourist spots in a full 3 days, but you'll be constantly on the move. And then finally, what time of year should you visit? KL is a bit of an anomaly. It's always hot and humid during both the day and night.
It's so damn hot.
And there really isn't a rainy season. And when I say hot and humid, I mean two time periods that are worth visiting is over the Chinese Lunar New Year celebration or during one of the many religious holidays. We are fortunate enough to experience both while visiting in January.
Exciting. The must-see places.
This is our required list for anyone visiting, and especially if you only have a day to see the city. Obviously, we'll start out with the world's former tallest building in the world, the Petronas Twin Towers. These iconic towers can be seen throughout the city, but stopping by to see them close up is definitely worth it. It's connected to a large outdoor park with lots of greenery, as well as a large high-class shopping mall at the base of the towers. Batu Caves.
Batu Cave.
We are not mad. We are just disappointed.
No, we are mad.
Yeah.
To visit this, you'll probably want to take the train to the cave since it isn't close to downtown. We were fortunate enough to visit during Thaipusam, which is a Hindu festival where devotees starve themselves for months and then make a 10-kilometer journey without shoes, some with hooks and spears pierced through their bodies, and then eventually hike up another 272 steps into the Batu Cave temples. It is a crazy experience. Recommend it.
Recommendation.
Let's move on to Chinatown. This has multiple things to see and experience. First, we have the chaotic peddling street market that is a walking street lined with people selling foods and goods, and it really comes alive at night. Just a couple blocks over, you'll find Sri Maha Mariamman Temple, which is another Hindu temple and a landmark in KL. Finally, we randomly found Rex KL, which is an old movie theater that was converted into many small shops, restaurants, and a bookstore. Then after researching multiple observation decks in KL, including the Petronas Twin Towers and the Merdeka 118,
Currently the second tallest building in the world.
we found that the KL Tower seemed to be the best choice for us as it has great views and you're able to be outdoors, so the photos and videos would not have random reflections.
I'm in a glass case.
And the high altitude air felt so nice. The National Mosque. This is a really impressive mosque with a lot to see. You'll need to be dressed very conservatively to get in, but you can also wear one of the very fashionable purple robes that they hand out right before entering.
It's called
Jalan Alor Street Food Market. This place gets packed at night. People constantly trying to get your attention to have dinner. It doesn't start getting busy until 5 o'clock and is also a great location for people watching. We had at least 4 meals here at random places along the street. Everything was very delicious.
Probably everything.
Tianhu Temple. At the top of the hill, there's a 6-tier Chinese temple. It's one of the largest temples in Southeast Asia
miniature Buddha covered in hair.
and has a pretty great skyline view. It's a trek to get over there though, because public transportation doesn't reach it. So you'll want to order up a Grab, rideshare, or hike over in the blazing heat like we did.
That's a spicy meatball!
Finally, last on the list, we have the Merdeka Square and the Sultan Abdul Salad building. These two places are right next to each other, the square being where Malaysia officially declared independence from the British rule, while the Sultan Abdul Samad building was built in the late 1800s during the British rule and originally housed British government officials.
The language.
Malaya is the official language of the country and spoken by over 80% of its population. With that said, English is also widely spoken, and we did not run into any situation where we could not communicate with someone.
In English, please.
We find it generally a good idea to learn a couple of phrases and keywords beforehand to immerse yourself further into the local culture.
Culture.
Please clap.
Oh my, food! Curry laksa, wonton mee, hokkien mee, satay, nasi kandar, nasi lemak, asam lak, roti kanti, apam balik, kueh chop, chichong fun, polti, hakim mee, bakutin. I mean, literally, this list feels endless because we didn't have one bad meal in Kuala Lumpur. We for sure had a meal or two that was on the spicy side.
That's a
But we'd recommend just ordering multiple dishes and sampling them all, since the prices are pretty inexpensive, especially in Chinatown or on Jalan Alor Street. Now let's get into transit. From the airport, the KLIA train takes less than 30 minutes to reach KL Central, which is one of the major public transportation hubs in Kuala Lumpur. You can purchase tickets ahead of time on your computer or smartphone app. This is by far the best way to get to and from the airport. Now that you're in the city, there's a handful of ways to move around and explore the city. First off, public transportation is fantastic. They have a very large above and below ground tram line network that is both inexpensive and, well, a little confusing.
Confusion.
Took us a few days to figure out how the system works and which train to get on. Next, you have 2 different types of public buses. One's very inexpensive, but you'll get stuck in large traffic delays most likely. The other is completely free that will also be stuck in traffic delays. The free one though, you can hop on and off many of the tourist destinations. They do get busy during rush hour because locals also use it for commuting. Following this up, you'll want to download the Grab app. Similar to Uber and Lyft, this will get you around town for a decent price. We used it multiple times and highly recommend it. In fact, we hired a driver for 4 hours while in a different city in Malaysia, and it cost us only around $30 US.
Savings.
Finally, we have our favorite way to explore the city.
Walking.
KL is not the most friendly city for walking. At times we were forced to cross dangerous roads, the sidewalks would be non-existent, or there would be zero shade, meaning Now where should you stay?
In a glass case.
During our trip, we split between 2 different locations. KL Central, which is the main train hub, and that's Central with an S, and the Bukit Bintang. Has a lot going on in the area, and right near the Jalan Alor street food market, while the KL Central offers great connectivity to the public transit, it is also very close to the Perdana Botanical Gardens, which is a giant park worth a relaxing stroll. Finally, we have KLCC, which stands for Kuala Lumpur City Center. This area is where the Petronas Twin Towers is located, as well as many of the high-end hotels and upscale shopping malls.
Let's go to the mall, everybody!
Here's a handful of attractions in Kuala Lumpur that made the list of places to check out or things to do. First, we have the Federal Territory Mosque, which we did not actually make it to.
Video not provided.
It is one of the largest mosques in Malaysia and has stunning architecture. Next we have Little India, also known as Brickfields, which is a vibrant, colorful neighborhood where you can find all things from India, from food, shopping, to culture.
Cold.
Next up, we have the Perdana Botanical Garden.
iPhone footage.
It's a large 200 plus acre green landscape in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. It's perfect for escaping the hustle and bustle of the city and has many different themed gardens as well as a lake. The butterfly park is also here, which is one of the top attractions in Kuala Lumpur.
Not provided.
Next up, we have the Shopper's Paradise at malls in Kuala Lumpur. People love going to the malls here to escape the heat and get their shopping on. You should try to make time to visit at least a couple of them and experience how busy and popular the malls are in Malaysia. Another area you can check out is the Central Market. Similar to the malls in KL, this had more of an artsy vibe to it and featured more local vendors. It's definitely worth a visit to see what kind of local handcrafted items are available in both the indoor and outdoor areas. Right next door, you'll find the River of Life. This is multiple sidewalks on both sides of the river, with a nice relaxing outdoor vibe, and plenty of street art. Speaking of street art, there's a lot of it.
Your art was the prettiest art of all the art.
Keep your eye out for huge murals or down small alleyways where you'll find some great artwork. Islamic Art Museum is also a great place to go to learn about the history of Islam and have artifacts spanning over the entire history of the Islamic religion. Finally, you'll want to make a stop at a fresh food market. We decided to randomly pick one off Google Maps that was away from the downtown area so it would be more local and less touristy. And boy were we right. We were literally the only tourists there. It was amazing seeing what locals were buying and selling, the amount of fresh produce, and just seeing how locals shop day to day. If you like the city so much, why won't you just leave and go to a different city? We looked into a few different day trip options that we could take out of the city. Unfortunately or fortunately, we decided to stay the extra time and explore more of KL and what it had to offer. But here are the 3 places on our short list of where we would have gone. Either Genting Highlands, which the city is located
On top of a mountain.
This is a resort town with much cooler climates, casinos, and theme parks. Kuala Selangor, this place has a ton of nature activities to see and do, as well as a very popular Firefly cruise. And finally on our short list, it would have been Malacca. It's a small compact city and has a bunch of history and culture, as well as having great food.
Meet the ball!
This was the Kuala Lumpur City Guide. If you found this useful at all, please like and subscribe so we know to make more guides like this in the future.